Alright, this is a video on solving proportions. So I have some examples set up here. So I got 3 over 5 equals 12 over y, and I want to find the value of y. The first thing you need to make sure you understand, this is not, you can't cross cancel or what people call cross reduce. These are on opposite sides of an equal sign. Okay, so I have a fraction equal to a fraction. So if this is the case, I can take a cross product to multiply this way. So what I would get is 3y equals 60. Okay. So that was 5 times 12 and 3. Now I just solve this as a one-step equation, and I'll go ahead and divide by 3. And I can see that y equals 20. Okay. And to kind of prove that to you, if I do 12 over 20, I can take a 4 out of both of those. I can reduce it, and that's the same as 4 times 3 and 4 times 5. And if I cross those out, you can see, yeah, they are actually equal to each other. That's the same as 3 over 5. Same type of question. So the unknown or the variable is in a different spot, but it doesn't change any of the process. So I do 2 times x and 5 times 1. I go ahead and divide by 2, and this one doesn't divide out evenly, but that's fine, and that's 5 halves. Okay. Let's do one more just like that, and so we go, okay. So I do m times 6. And it doesn't matter which one you do on each side. So if I multiply these two first or those two first, it doesn't change the answer. So I multiply across here, I get 28. That's 7 times 4, and then 6m. And then I just go ahead and continue to solve. I divide by 6. Okay. And this reduces, 28 over 6 is the same as 2 times 14 and 2 times 3, and the 2's reduce. So this is 14 over 3. Okay. So these are, once again, using proportions. This is a really nifty trick. It works really well in lots of situations. And so here's a couple of word problems where you could use a proportion. So this says the property tax on a house is $8 per $1,000 assessed value. What is the tax on a house assessed at $168,000? So if you had a house and it was worth $1,000, you'd have to pay $8 in taxes. If it was worth $2,000, you'd have to pay $16 in taxes. That's what that means. So that's a fraction that I can set up as a ratio. Okay, so I could say $8 for every $1,000 in value. Okay. Well, what I want to figure out is what would the property tax be on $165,000? Well, what you need to make sure is you keep everything on the same line here. So my denominators are going to be assessed value. So for 1,000, I got to pay $8, and so this is the value that I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what that value is going to be, how much I'm going to have to pay in taxes. Okay, so I set up a proportion. Now they're a common ratio, so these will work out. So I'll go ahead and I'll multiply across right here. Okay, and that's 1,000x equals, I'm going to get kind of a large number here, and I'll go ahead and do 8 times 165,000. Okay. So, all right, you can see I got a pretty big number there, but it's not that big though, because I'm dividing by 1,000, so that's pretty easy to do if I wanted to do that in my head. Okay, divide by 1,000. You can see I'm reducing basically these zeros. Okay. So I get 1,320. So this is a word problem, so I should answer it in a sentence. So I would say something real simple, just say the tax is $1,320, right? So I can figure out how expensive my tax value would be on a particular home. Okay. Let's do one more of those. A certain car can travel 180 miles on 8 gallons of gasoline. How far can the car travel on 19 gallons of gasoline? All right, so I got to set up my ratio, the one that I know to be true. So looking at this, I go, okay, I'm going to say 180 miles over 8 gallons. Okay. And if I want, I can go ahead and label those just to kind of help myself understand what I've got. Okay, so there's my ratio that I'm going to set up. Okay. And so when I go ahead and figure this out, they're asking me how far can I go with 19 gallons. So gallons are my denominator. So when I set up my other fraction, I got to make sure I put gallons on, and I got to figure out I don't know how many miles. So when I multiply across here, I get 8x is equal to 180 times 19. All right. 3,420. So I multiply these ones and I multiply those ones, divide by 8. Okay. And that comes out to 427.5. Okay. So once again, I want to answer this in a sentence. So let's say something like, the car can travel 427.5 miles on 19 gallons. So going back to looking back at the original question, I said, okay, I can do 8 gallons gets me 180 miles. How many can 19 get me? And that's what I wanted to figure out. Then I multiply this way, and I multiply those ones, and then I solve.